Hi, my name is Elizabeth Riley. This dish that I'm going to do now is called summer pudding, and it's home cooking at its best, at its most glorious in my opinion. Here are the fruits. That's the one thing you have to have for this. These are summer berries: raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, blueberries. Doesn't really matter what fruits you use, so long as they're juicy and at the peak of flavor. All we do here, I know that people say it's like driving directions. Oh, it's so simple you can't miss it, but this really is easy. You put your fruits in a pot. Here I'm putting in the harder ones first, the strawberries and blueberries. These are frozen wild blueberries because they're tart. They're little and tart, and they have a racy, luscious flavor. And these are local strawberries, which just happen to be in season now. Cut up fairly small, but not too small. You put it on the stove with a little heat. Cook it just enough so that the walls of the fruit loosen and the juices start to run. And this is all about the juices. And then we'll put in the other fruits because they're more fragile. So I'll stir it a little bit. You can see it's beginning to warm up. I'll add a little bit of sugar. I say 3/4, but you want to add it gradually. You can always add more sugar, but you can't take it out. And it's about the fruit. And if you put too much sugar in, it takes away the flavor of the fruit itself. So I'll stir some, but not too much, so it doesn't get mushy. You want to see the fruit itself in the finished dessert. Oh, now they're really beginning to run. So I'm going to add the blackberries. You know, the difference between a blackberry and a raspberry is that the raspberry has a cone in the middle where you pull it off, and the blackberry is solid through. This is cultivated. These are somewhat cultivated, but the raspberry is more cultivated. It's a huge family of promiscuous berries because they all mix with each other, and they are all delicious. But the more cultivated they are, the less thorny. Another thing about the sugar is the acid in the fruit will dissolve the sugar. So you can add sugar even after you've taken it off the stove. All right, I think this is ready now. So I'm going to pour all the berries into this sieve set high over a bowl so that the juices will drip through above and be saved in the bottom. You don't want to stir too much. You want the fruits to keep their integrity. And just let it go through. Oh, that's what this dessert is all about. While your berry juices are draining, you take a bowl, a simple bowl, and line it with pieces of bread. Stale bread is best. White's fine. If you have whole wheat, that's okay too. It needs to be fairly firm. This is not a place to use Wonder Bread. And you cut a circle for the bottom, and then you do pieces around the sides to fit. And if you have a little hole, such as here, you could take a little piece to fill the chinks. And you have that all done ahead with pieces on top as a lid, which will eventually be the bottom. Then, when your juices are all drained through, let me put the sieve back on the pot because you don't want to lose any of the precious juices. You take the bread out of the bowl and you basically paint it in the juices on both sides and fit it back in. Don't worry if it doesn't fit exactly. This is a very forgiving recipe. Another reason I like it so much. And just fit it around the bowl. And if you have spaces, don't worry. You can just fit them in later. There. Not too hard. Save all these juices. Put the berries in the bowl. It's so simple, but it's really very beautiful aesthetic. And put the last pieces on top. There. When you've done that, cover it with plastic tightly. Put a plate that fits just inside, a plate on the flat side, and press down. What you're doing really is pushing all of the juices into the bread, so the bread is completely saturated with the juices. And it might be a good idea to put more plastic on top, just in case of spills. Then, weight it with something heavy. Here's some maple syrup or a can of tomatoes or whatever. Something heavy, and put it in your refrigerator overnight to be weighted. You have to do this recipe a day ahead or a few days, 2 days. I wouldn't do more than that. Good. So here's your summer pudding. It's been in the refrigerator for a day. And we'll unwrap it. Look, see how the bread now is fully purple. And we're going to unmold it on the plate. Now this can be just a little bit dodgy. You have to be patient. Loosen it around the outside with a thin knife. There. There. All right, so here's our pudding. Now it's a little disheveled, so, we fix it up just the way you do a little preening. And there are always a few touch-ups that you need, and that's another reason why you save all the juices. You might have some white spots you need to paint out, or just put them around because it's so unbelievably delicious. You can tell I like this. You can do that, or you can add a little bit of mint and serve it with cream. Or if you want yogurt, but somehow I think just plain cream is hard to improve upon. And then when you serve it, you just cut in. Like that. And serve it and pass the cream around. And there are all those beautiful berries that are what summer pudding is all about.